Thank you. Okay, we have more people joining us. That's fantastic. It is 6 o'clock, so we are going to start on time tonight. I want to welcome everyone to our second webinar in January, which is National Human Trafficking Month, and it has been since 2010. Tonight, we're privileged to have an alumna artist, Claudette Šernius, as well as Tanya Andre, who's the CEO of the Mavuno Project. And they have an interesting story to tell individually and also collaboratively. This is in the lead up to the 5K that we have on January 25th. It's in the morning. It's going to be our third, I say our, but it's the Social Studies, Behavioral Sciences, Human Services Pathway, and the student organization, PSG End the Demand Club, which aims to bring awareness about human trafficking and modern slavery in our country and around the world. And that's been the motivation for now 3 years of this walk. And it seems to get more successful every year. This year we have another partner joining us, Pliables. So we'll talk a bit more about that as we go along. Tonight we'll just go through the welcome, then we'll have a conversation beginning with Claudette, then Tanya, and then Philippa. If you have questions, please drop them into the queue and into the chat, and we'll address them towards the end. And here are our lovely co-hosts tonight, Tanya Andre and Claudette Šernius. Tanya and Claudette, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to always spend time with you and really just to learn from you about your experiences and the work that you do. So I'm eager to get started. So our webinar tonight is called Art, Advocacy, and Action. Art takes us to our alumna, Claudette, who's going to tell us a little bit about her background, and then I have some questions for her.
Hello, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be able to give back to the community in every way I can. And my alma mater, Broward College, always really grateful to come back and share what I can. So originally from Dominican Republic. I moved here when I was 16, and then after high school, I entered Broward College and then transitioned to finish my BFA, so my Bachelor's in Fine Arts in Florida International University in 2023. Currently, I live and work here in South Florida. I also work at a gallery. And since I graduated, I've been able to receive grants such as the Artist Support Grant from Broward County. And that allowed me to give life to this body of work that you're going to be able to see. And it just started with just a seed with the professional enhancement program in Broward College. So that's just a little bit about me, and you're going to see a little bit more.
Wonderful. I'm going to go to the next slide then. And I want to ask you, Claudette, about the story behind your first piece of art that was inspired by human trafficking.
So through the professional enhancement program and the PSG Club to end human trafficking, I got the information of this issue that's going on right here in our backyard. A lot of people, including myself, in the past, we see movies like Taken, and it seems so foreign, right? So this program allowed me to recognize and understand how easily it is nowadays to get involved in this, how people are not so aware of it, and how early and within the household it can start. So for me, the information that I received and knowing that this is happening in homes, so that's what ignited in me the decision to kind of take it upon myself to raise awareness. And the way that I do it is through my work. So I decided to take reference images from children that are dear to me. This is actually my niece, to bring it closer to home, like raising awareness, not just to myself, but my family, because that's my circle of influence. And making sure that I inform them and educate them so that doesn't happen to them. So that's kind of where everything started.
Can you tell us a little bit about this particular piece then that we're looking at right now?
I enjoy kind of like the daily activities of, everyday life. The story that really shocked me was a few years ago in one of the walks. I think it was the first walk. The speaker was a survivor, and she expressed, like, she shared her story and expressed how she was trafficked. So it was within her household. And the fact that she was still going to school, doing mundane things, nobody would ever know, right? So that really instigated me to look into what I have of my family, the pictures that I take of these wonderful children that I have around me. And so that's kind of where this specific image comes from. I intentionally leave it unfinished. You can see the undertone and the underlayers of the painting, because it also translates to the fact that a lot of the victims and a lot of the people that are in human trafficking today are not able to finish their stories. So this is just to aim to create hope for those that are in it and prevent those that are not to fall into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
So-
different,
yeah. Mhm.
no, just different takes on
Uh-huh.
images that I just it could be anybody.
Right. And for me, it also just calls to mind that, as you said, it's just, these are like natural little snapshots and vignettes of a child's life, and, expressing that sort of vulnerability that's part of that.
Also, the way that I my intention with the like the point of view of you as a viewer when you're looking at the paintings is from quote unquote a position of power or responsibility, rather. As you as a viewer, you're the one responsible to learn about this and take it upon yourself to protect the children that are vulnerable and are looking up to you to navigate the world, right? So that's also an intent with every piece, the fact that it's unfinished, the layers of trauma that come along with like human trafficking, because it's very psychological. A lot of times people think that they're chained up to something, but the reality is that the psychology of it is even more powerful than any physical restraint can do. So the more that I learn, the more I try to translate that information into a visual form that I can then communicate when I'm talking about my work.
So, Claudette, how do you balance the emotional weight of the subject matter with your creative process? Because it, can be a challenging topic for a lot of people to contemplate.
I've been very blessed throughout my life that I've never really had to experience anything like this. And what fuels me is the fact that I am free. I'm able to speak up. I'm able to do these things, whereas a lot of these people are not able to. So it's more of, it empowers me even more to continue to do it because I am able to, rather than become a victim of it myself and kind of get lost in the problem itself rather than become the solution. So I just try to focus on the intention that I'm doing with this, the goal of it at the end of the day. And that's also why working with Tanya has been incredible, and just learning how many different ways you can, make an impact, and just support the community. In the future, in general, it doesn't need to be one specific cause, but just know that you have the power within to impact the world in a positive way.
So you're really speaking to the strength though that art can play in social justice and advocacy.
1,000%. I do believe that art is a catalyst for change. It's incredible how easily even like painting a wall in your house can make you feel different, right? And that's just color, right? So I do believe that art has power within it. And I make it my mission to make a difference, a positive difference in this world through it, because thankfully that's been my gift. So I intend to share it and help the community.
In this particular piece here, your title, "Let's Stand for Freedom," is that like a call to action, or what led you to title this particular piece like that?
I guess the position of the child in this image too, it just like it, at least to me, it seems like it's standing strong. Like I'm here to stay, like unmovable in a way. So that kind of what led me to give it that name, also because of the body of work. It's intended to raise awareness about human trafficking. Each title in its own way has a subtlety to it, especially because a lot of times when I'm showing the work, I'm not necessarily there. So it's to give the viewer also a sense of give it context of what the work is about without necessarily always telling it. Because usually, and I'm pretty sure there's people that can relate to this, a lot of times you go to art galleries or museums and then you just see the work. You don't really know what it's about. So you have to make, with the little information that it's given when it comes to like visuals, the text, where it was made and materials, etc., to inform yourself and kind of create your own perception of what you're looking at or your own perspective and give it context. So that's why I give the titles the way that I do, I guess. Yeah.
So how do you stay inspired and motivated to continue creating art around this topic?
Surrounding myself with people that are taking action, like these two wonderful women that I'm sharing the webinar today with. So just like really going out in the community, talking to people and listening to the different ways that they're making an impact in the community and just learning from them, and then coming back to my studio and then seeing how I can put together the different pieces of information and then create something new.
Would you like to tell us about this next piece, which is very different from?
Actually, that was like the very first one of the pieces intended to raise awareness about human trafficking. So walk a mile in my shoes. I started with the material itself, so it's made out of rebar, like steel. Again, kind of creating that narrative between being kind of in a cage, being trapped, which is a feeling that it's within human trafficking. Also the zip ties of kind of restraining, and a shoe at times. And this is something that I remember vaguely from my mom, that your shoes are very much yours in the sense that it's molded to your feet when you wear it for a long period of time. So you probably, I don't know if you ever worn somebody else's shoes and you can still feel their footprint within it. So I took a take on a shoe, specifically a high heel, also because of that connection that we have between sexuality. A lot of like the majority of the main gender in human trafficking, it's females. So making that connection too, and giving it the feeling of discomfort, that was my intent behind this piece. That it's not easy to walk a mile in a victim's shoes. When you're in human trafficking, it just feels like there's no way out, but that's also all you have.
Yeah, there definitely is that kind of very visceral reaction to it. And again, the way you title it does help a lot. And it gives a really kind of poetic subtext, to this, and it's yeah, it's profound.
Thank you.
Do you have any upcoming projects or exhibitions related to this advocacy?
Actually, I do. So I'm continuing to expand the series and create like a body of work. And I do have an exhibition that is called Stolen Innocence. And it's gonna be in April 4th, I believe, at the Sunrise Civic Center here in Sunrise.
Okay, excellent. So you'll give us those details and we'll share them with the Alumni Friends Network.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now segueing into advocacy, we have Tanya, who is the CEO of the Mavuno Project. Tanya, when did you start the Mavuno Project? When did it come into being?
You're muted.
I mute myself.
There we go.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Anthony and Broward College and all of you involved for this invitation to be able to share my passion with you and your community. Yes, so the Mavuno Project launched. It launched as an official 501c3 back in 2016. However, it really, the vision for it started back in 2009, when I just really felt as a survivor of child sexual abuse. I wanted to take some time off of corporate America to find healing and to find myself. And what happened was that, believe it or not, I actually found my purpose while selling jewelry inside of a strip club in Miami. For 2 years, I saw the horrible crime of human trafficking right in front of my eyes, and not just in one place, but in several other strip clubs in Miami. I saw it firsthand, and I experienced as a child the abuse of some sort of sexual abuse, so I could understand and have empathy towards human trafficking survivors. And that's really was my passion and how it started. And I just felt like moving forward, the Mavuno Project's vision was to be a voice for the voiceless and prevent human trafficking, to anyone and everyone that we can share the message of awareness.
Can you talk a little bit about the strategies that you use to raise awareness about it?
Yes, so we've done several different strategies throughout the years, but we host campaigns. Actually, one of them will be launched in the end of January, called Empower Puerto Rico. So we do have an international arm to our organization. So we will be launching our anti-human trafficking campaign, Empower Puerto Rico, at the end of the month, for Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So we will be there launching and doing some governmental and leadership panels in the island. We also host educational workshops inside Miami-Dade and Broward County Public Schools. And that is our most, that's kind of like what we do on a daily, more frequent basis, is we are in our local schools. We are passionate about preventing children. So if anyone here is a teacher or knows a teacher that would like our presentation, please reach out to us. Just this week alone, we've prevented over 300 kids from human trafficking just this week, sixth graders. at a school in Broward. So we've done panel discussions throughout the community. We also do an event called Kids United, where that is the time where we bring in the community, parents, the families, the teachers, the kids, to come together and be able to have conversations around this sort of issue. Sometimes parents don't know how to talk to their kids about human trafficking. So we try to facilitate those conversations between parents and guardians at that event called Kids United that we hope to host again this year.
For our Broward College Alumni Friends community who, aren't maybe as fortunate to be present at one of your workshops, how should they educate themselves? How should we educate ourselves about this topic and take action?
So you can follow our page, our Instagram page. We are constantly posting awareness messaging, prevention messaging, stats, facts on our page. We use our social media pages as a form of awareness and also to talk about what we're doing in the community. But there are organizations like the Polaris Project that talk a little bit more in depth on the state of human trafficking more on a national level and not just Florida. But those are there's tons of way online that someone can Google and become aware if they want more information. But I know that we are constantly hosting webinars as well that people can join, and we can share as much information as we need to the public. So we also provide those educational opportunities. So when people can't come to any of our events, they can still remain educated. You can also sign up to our newsletter. For example, we just released a newsletter this month that says how to speak to your kids, how to speak to kids about human trafficking. So we gave tips and some tactics on that issue, which is very important, right? I get that all the time. Parents, how do I open up about this? So those are some of the ways that you can get educated on the subject.
Thank you. And it sounds like you have a lot going. I was looking at your website, of course, and many different fronts. You also have some sort of financial empowerment workshops.
Yeah, so that is within the schools. So we believe that any form of vulnerability, right, is a vulnerability for human trafficking. So financial economic status, right, is a vulnerability in the human trafficking world, just because people find themselves to make wrong decisions when they feel that they are not financially stable. Sometimes even out of desperation, right? When you don't have a plate to eat, you're gonna go and go with whoever's gonna offer you that plate to eat. And sometimes that comes at a very high cost, right? I'll feed you, but then you have to go do, A, B, and C for me. So we provide other seminars in the schools, like financial literacy, to teach children how to save money, how you can stretch your dollar, how you can get out of poverty. And those are partnerships that we have with financial institutions that provide us that information that we can now also share with the kids.
With all of this great activity on many different fronts that you are directing and the Mavuno Project is involved with, are there any recent achievements or milestones that you're particularly happy with?
Wow. Well, achievements and milestones. I think that we celebrate small milestones, but we also celebrate big ones. So last year for March specifically, which is Women Month, we were honored by the Miami Dolphins football team, right? We love the Miami Dolphins here in Miami. And we were honored for their charity of choice in March for Women's Month with for our prevention and education and trying to keep girls safe from trafficking. We were also honored at UCF at one of their Polaris Star Gala as our efforts for international awareness. So I spoke a little bit about our international, but every year we take a mission trip and we take our programming into very impoverished communities internationally. So we were honored for our international prevention efforts as well in that aspect.
Well, congratulations on that. That's so well deserved.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your collaboration with other organizations or artists, how that comes about?
Yeah, so actually we have partnered with organizations like It's a Penalty, where every year we are helping and collaborating in hosting a international human trafficking campaign surrounding the Super Bowl. So every year, except for this year, but because we've been fully dedicated with Mavuno with the growth that we've had here locally. But we still love that partnership. But they launch anti-human trafficking campaigns every year around the Super Bowl, and they're actually sponsored by the NFL and other large organizations to raise awareness around large sporting events. So we've done those types of collaborations with It's a Penalty for the past 6 years. We have also partnered with Broward College. Broward College is an amazing supporter of what we do. So we've done webinars in the classrooms with Dr. Broward. We've also, we will be partnering and participating in the walk that we have, the 5K walk that's going to be coming up. We've actually gone on mission trips with some of the professors at Broward College. So, we've been able to develop a beautiful relationship there at Broward College. And I believe that that's what partnerships and collaborations really is about, right? Pushing the cause and the message forward. And of course, we've partnered with Claudette in arts in the arts program, where she invited us to be part of her launch of this amazing, beautiful art exhibition to bring awareness on human trafficking. I can't wait to see how that continues to grow. Art is instrumental, especially for survivors, because a lot of survivors are creative. We love to use our mind and we create things and we've developed that skill. So we actually use art therapy. We have a safe house in Honduras. So we use art therapy where the girls are learning art twice a week, actually. So that, they can kind of get their mind off of things and get focused on the art. And we have an amazing art team that teaches all art via Zoom. And I know that Miss Broward there at Broward College, she's such a supporter of that. Through her help, we were able to send about 20 pieces of canvas and painting and brushes and all of that for Christmas, for the holidays. So we're very grateful for Victoria Broward for that support to our organization as well.
Fabulous. And that's very interesting what you say. If I'm not mistaken, when you left corporate America, you started to create jewelry, right?
To create my what? I'm sorry?
You started to create jewelry yourself.
Yes. Yes.
So that speaks to that creativity, that kind of hands-on, right? Okay.
Right. So we continue to use the art to raise awareness, but also as an avenue of healing for our survivors in Honduras.
Lovely. And another thing I love about what you do is that you do end with a message of hope.
Yes, correct. We never just throw, the prevention out there without talking about a solution, right? And we honestly believe that there is purpose in everything that we've experienced in life. There is a purpose for it. And I'm an advocate for turning your pain into purpose. And a lot of times I get asked, you know, how do I find my purpose? How do I find what's next in life, or how do I heal? How do I begin to heal from trauma that I've experienced? And I often say, you know, you want to think about what has pained you the most. What do you think in your life has pained you the most? And chances are that's where your purpose lies. You know, maybe it's not my story of having been abused. Maybe it's being fatherless. Well, maybe you can go be a mentor or be a father figure to someone else. You know, maybe it was you were homeless at one point, and maybe that looks like, well, how can I empower other homeless to get out of homelessness? So I always say you want to think about what has pained you the most, and that's where I strongly believe purpose lies in those stories of pain. But we do inspire hope because we know that there's a way out. We know that everyone has an opportunity to find freedom and to find hope.
Wonderful. And one of the things I like about the 5K walk, and I'm going to let my colleague Philippa speak to it, is, you know, it is that coming together and is that taking a stand collectively as a demonstration of hope and kind of resistance in that too. So that's the action part of this webinar. Philippa Vassal is also a Broward College alumna. So Tanya was sort of sandwiched between two great alumna of Broward College. And I'd like for Philippa to tell us a bit about the genesis of the walk and how it's come along in these past 3 years.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Philippa, and I am a part of the Social and Behavioral Sciences Department at Broward, along with my colleague, my supervisor, Dr. B, who just joined us, Dr. Balzura. So about 4 years ago, Dr. Balzura was on the board of a very well-known organization here in South Florida. And he brought the project of their main goal was to fight human trafficking. And he brought the project to Broward College, and he asked if I would be the advisor to the student club. I agreed, and I went to one of this organization's walk for awareness, and I thought this would be a great idea. So I brought it to the students, and for the past 3 years, I've been organizing this walk. And I became very passionate about this awareness. I don't know a lot. I'm learning every day. And I just feel we have to do something about this. We can't just sit and watch, you know. South Florida is number 3 on the list in human trafficking. I just learned this since I started doing this. And I'm gonna say like every month, there's something on the news. Someone in Miami, someone in Fort Lauderdale was arrested for being for trafficking. And so I think it's very important for us to spread awareness. So I planned this walk, and at first I didn't know if it would happen. I was very scared, I was nervous, and I was really expecting like 40 people to show up. And almost 300 people showed up for the first walk. I was surprised. So I said, okay, this is something I can do. And I also collaborated with Anthony, my friend here, and other organizations. And now here we are, we're at our 3rd walk. And I hope you guys can join us.
Thank you, Philippa. Yeah, and I hope so too. One of the things I love is that it brings together people connected to Broward College or not, you know, and from all walks of life and all ages. You know, we've had corporate teams like for the Bank of America participated. We've had other schools. We've got our students who run the club there. So it really is a great community event, and obviously it's something that people are passionate about because it touches a nerve, and it brings so many of us out to to participate. And Philippa, people can register, and is there anything else you want to tell them to prepare for the walk?
Just come out and we have a survivor from the Mavuno Project, Amanda Thalasso, if I'm saying that correct.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So she'll be sharing her story. We also we'll be having safety and security from Broward College, Linda Nation. She's planning on bringing a retired investigator from DHS. We're not sure about that yet, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. And of course, alumni and friends. So please come out and join us and listen to her story. And even if you don't walk, just come and have fun. We'll have Zumba-like. It's just dancing, having fun. So just please support us by coming out. Thank you.
Thank you. And like the Mavuno Project, we take this very seriously, but there is that message of hope, that element of, working to eradicate this. And it's free. There's no charge to sign up, and there's going to be breakfast snacks provided, and free samples from Pliables as well. So there's food and snacks and water for everyone as well. I'm sorry, were there any questions in the chat? I'm not able to see the chat myself that we haven't addressed.
Not at this moment.
None. Okay.
I had one and I keep losing connection, but it's not about the walk though. I was gonna ask, I believe, it's Tanya.
Hello.
Yes, hi Tanya. I was just curious, if I may ask you to repeat, how many kids did you just say? Did you really say like if you could go back over that number of how many students?
Yeah, so yeah, just this week we were at a school where we did our prevention workshop to 300 sixth graders.
Okay. So it wasn't actually 300 kids that were involved, but you were able to help them?
We did our prevention workshops. So we do prevention in Broward, Dade, and Miami County Public Schools. However, in internal talk, we say that we rescued 300 students from human trafficking with the message of education and a message of hope. And the reason why we say rescue is because if they don't know, right? If they don't
Absolutely.
understand, then they're lost, right? They don't
course.
know. So that's internally that's our language. But no, these were not kids that were, being trafficked. This was a prevention workshop that we hosted at one of the schools this week.
Okay. I got a little scared there.
Right, I get it. Even though I do want to say, to your point, the last statistics that I saw back in 2000 and back in 2023, in the state of Florida, there were over 2,600 cases of human trafficking. All of those were child human trafficking. And out of those child cases of human trafficking, about 1,600 of those were 1,600 were child cases. Out of the 2,600, 1,600 were child cases, and over 360 of those cases came from Broward and Miami-Dade, and those were child cases as well.
That breaks my heart, but also thank you for what you're doing. That's really, really awesome. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Those are heartbreaking numbers. Thank you.
Well, I'm Anthony Stewart, the Alumni Engagement Manager for Broward College, and I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. We'll make this webinar available to all of the alumni and friends through our newsletter and on our website. If there are no other questions, I'll say good evening, and I hope that you all sign up for the walk and stand with us, show like a collective sign of resistance, and give hope to others who may be experiencing or are vulnerable to human trafficking.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much for this opportunity, Anthony, and thanks everyone that showed up. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Oh, great. Donna's going to be there. We'll see you. Thank you.